District Board of Commissioners meeting for Thursday, January 11th. If we could please start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Chuck, while you're up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for another Forest Preserve District meeting on today. Thank you for our commissioners, our officers, all the employees, and all our residents of Will County that take advantage of our Forest Preserve. Bless our agenda, bless our meeting. In our Lord's name we do pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you both for being here. And if we could please have roll call.
Summers.
Here.
Ogala. Here. Singer. Mustis.
Here.
Moran.
Present.
Rice. Harris.
Here.
Trainier. Fritz. Benefield.
Here.
Gould.
Here.
Militello.
Here.
Balish.
Here.
Griswold.
Here.
Brooks.
Here.
Winfrey. Harper. Here. Staley Ferry.
Here.
Markham.
Here.
Dollinger. Mayor.
Here.
Tumanello.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Prolitis.
Here.
Ferry.
Here.
And Hart.
Here.
22 present.
We have presentation, certificate of mailing, and certificate of publication. I have motion by Parker, second by Delaney. Can we have a roll call, please?
Summers.
Yes.
Ogala, yes. Mustis.
Here. Yeah.
Moran.
Yes.
Rice. Harris.
Yes.
Fritz. Benefield.
Yes.
Gould.
Yes.
Militello. Balish.
Yes.
Griswold.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Parker. Yes. Staley Ferry.
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Tumanello.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Prolitis.
Yes.
Ferry.
Yes.
And Hart. 22 approved.
Motion carries. Next, we need approval of minutes for December 14th, 2017. Motion by Parker, second by Ferry, previous row by Summers, second by Militello. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I also want to apologize. Our board is not working up here, so when I'm calling you, if you can just push your own button, that would be fabulous. Jim.
Yeah, I like pushing buttons.
It's not very hard.
Okay, good morning, everyone. The monthly operating statement for the period ended December 31st, 2017 indicates that the district corporate fund collected approximately $12.5 million in total revenues, of which approximately $10.6 million is related to property taxes, $365,000 are rental fees for Four Rivers facility in Shanahan, and approximately $168,000 in permit fees, $892,000 in insurance reimbursement resulting from the fire at the operations facility on Shirley Hill Road, and the remainder is made up of other miscellaneous revenue items. Expenditures. The district has incurred approximately $12.3 million of expenditures for the 12-month period ended December 31st, 2017. The district has incurred an operating surplus that will be adjusted once final year-end payroll and accounts payable accounts are recorded. The district has also made all of its annual debt service payments in the amount of $24,083,154 relating to the district's general obligation bonds. This concludes my treasurer's report. Unless there's any questions, I'll make a motion to place the treasurer's report on file.
Motion by Eustace, second by Mayor. Previous roll by Rice, second by Markham. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Jim. Okay. Petitions from the public. Being none. Ray?
Good morning.
Good morning.
The only thing we have is a schedule of bills today. We have no old business or new business to conduct. Schedule of bills is $1,283,197.81, and I so move.
Motion by Daniel, second by Fritz. Previous roll by Staley Ferry, second by Moran. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Next meeting date is Wednesday, January 31st, meeting regarding operations, and that concludes my report.
Great. Thank you, Ray. Mike, operations.
Good morning, Forest Observer Will County. We have no business as well this month. We do have some reports, no island reports. We have the administrative work plan report, and we have the 2018 bid and RFP report. Please take a look at that. It will show you all the bids that we'll be putting out this year, so you're aware of them ahead of time. And at the end of our meeting today, Ralph's going to give a little slide presentation on the administrative work plan, so we'll save that for the end. So our next meeting as well is Wednesday, 31st. So lucky month, we get 2 meetings, meeting instead of 1. And then so we'll be in January 31st at 8:30 a.m. Thank you.
Okay. Herb, you're on.
Fine. Thank you.
You have no idea pushing that button.
Yeah, is it up? Okay, there we go. Not used to that. Okay, we did have a ad hoc meeting. We have 2 items to approve. Number 1, approval of the 2018 state legislative work plan recommended by all 5 of us on the committee, and I so move.
Motion by Bert, second by Stanley Berry. Previous roll by Parker, second by Militello. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
All right. And the second, approval of a 1-year extension of existing contract with Brett Hassard Consulting in the amount of $3,000 per month, recommended by approval by the committee, and I so move.
Motion by Bert, second by Eustace. Previous roll by Berry, second by 2-0. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And that is all that we have. Our next meeting to be determined. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you, Bert. And you know I love when you call me that.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Nothing, executive session? Comments by the public? Ralph, you're on.
So I know that you have some meetings after this, so I'll try to be brief. Everything that I'm going to talk about today is contained in your administrative work plan. We gave you a hard copy. You also have a digital copy in your packets. When I do these, I usually like to start off with going back to why it is that the Forest Preserve District exists. Our mission and our statutory purpose. We're based as an organization in the 1913 Downstate Forest Preserve Act. We were created in 1926, about 13 years afterwards. Our mission statement is up there for you to review, but it really boils down to this and what we try to drive home with the folks that we work with and that we serve, and that is that we connect people with nature. Our administrative work plans are a roadmap to success. We do this annually. We started publishing them for your consumption a few years back. And it's an important piece for us to communicate both what it is that the organization is doing internally, as well as externally communicating that to the folks that we serve. Each year we create that. It catalogs some of our achievements from the previous year, in this case 2017, and it describes our goals for the upcoming year in 2018. It's important that we have these work plans and that we establish these goals organizationally for our professional staff, and then also I encourage folks to have personal goals as well. There's a quote that always comes back to me, and it's by Benjamin Franklin. It's been attributed to a number of other people, Winston Churchill as well. And that is, failing to plan is planning to fail. And when we go forward and we don't have a clear objective and a clear set of goals and moving forward, what happens is we tend to spin our wheels. And so when we catalog those goals and we write those down and we try to achieve those, it's helpful for us as an organization to continue to move forward. Our organization, we have a $16.6 million budget, roughly. This is how it breaks out. About 35% is in our business administration. That number looks a little bit large, but what I wanted to let you know is that contains all of the benefits and all of the operations of the organization from a business standpoint. So while some salaries are directly attributed to the departments themselves, we catalog or we gather up all of the benefits and all of the other things associated with our human resources, and we dump them into business administration. It's about 35% of our budget. About 27% of our budget is spent on maintenance and operations, 14% on planning and development, 10% on visitor services, another 10% on law enforcement or our police force, and about 4% on marketing and communications. Our finance department is obviously a very important department in our organization. It's the one that pays all of our bills, keeps our lights on, and sets all of us up to be able to do our jobs on a day-to-day basis. For the past 22 years, the Forest Reserve has been awarded a Certificate of Achievement in Excellence in Financial Reporting by the Government Finance Officers Association. It's the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting. Receiving this award year after year has much to do with the work of our finance department. Finance is actually one of our smallest departments. We only have 4 employees in finance. I lumped John up into administration with me. So receiving this award, again, is an important part of what they do. In 2018, finance is tasked with transition to a new financial system. We've talked about this before in committee meetings. The board approved a new financial system. In 2018, we'll actually roll that out, and so their work will be very important this year as they move us into that new financial software. The finance department also includes volunteer services. It seems kind of odd that that's how we packaged it up for the time being. Volunteer services are another and very important part of our organization. Last year, we had 1,130 individual volunteers that contributed over 16,400 hours to our organization. That's the equivalent of 8 full-time employees. To put it another way, it's a savings of about $378,000. And to put it yet another way, for every 14 full-time employees, we have 1 full-time volunteer. And so volunteers are an important part of what we do, and we'll continue to recognize and promote and expand our volunteer program as we move forward. Information technology is also an important part of our organization. They're focused on bringing, in 2017, they focused on bringing increased network communications to our visitor facilities, which are now connected on a fast and reliable fiber-based communication network. It improves the work of the employees at our visitor facilities, and it hopefully reduces some of the frustrations they had dealing with the antiquated systems that they had. In 2018, those same improvements will also allow us to take advantage of other staff efficiencies, such as video conferencing. Again, another important thing to reduce travel time costs and increase the amount of communication between those visitor facilities and the supervisors that run them. We'll also establish Wi-Fi hotspots for our public at our visitor facilities because of the new fiber. We'll also focus on modernizing our business continuity and disaster recovery technology using a cloud-based backup technology to secure our critical systems and secure our data in the event of a disaster. This sounds like it should be pretty straightforward, but it's very important to us. A lot of you remember the fire that we had earlier this year, or last year, I should say, at our operations and law enforcement facility. That facility that caught fire and had a substantial loss, that was our offsite backup for all of our data. We did not lose any data, but it was an eye-opener for us that we needed to come up with an alternate solution, and the cloud-based format is one which will help us out quite a bit. Our maintenance and operations department does just what it sounds like they do. They take care of all of our facilities, all of our buildings, all of our preserves, as well as our fleet. And they help us put our best foot forward for the public as well as for our employees. There'll be a number of projects that we'll be doing in maintenance and operations. The first will be the reconstruction of our operations and law enforcement facility. That's nearly complete. We expect to have it completed yet within the next 6 weeks, and we'll be able to move our staff back into that. Second, last year we initiated an expansion of our Lake Renwick Operations Substation as a way to improve staff efficiency, bringing crews together to share equipment and to go out to sites individually so that we can assign crews as needed. We also, maintenance and operations is also involved and manages our infrastructure maintenance and replacement program. It's an important program we started back in 2013 to ensure that the facilities and the preserves that we have and the investment that the public has made in this forest reserve system is well maintained. We're as much stewards as those facilities and those improvements as we are of the lands that we manage as well. In 2017, we added bridges to that infrastructure maintenance and replacement program. And in 2018, we'll make our first repairs or first major modifications to a couple of bridges, one at McKinley Woods and the other one on the Old Plank Road Trail crossing US Route 30. We'll also be doing improvements at Veterans Woods, and we'll be reconstructing 4.4 miles of the Hickory Creek Bikeway in Mokina. Our planning and development department manages our real estate. They manage all of our planning, they manage the development aspects, but they also manage our natural resources. Our CIP that was funded in our 1999 and 2005 referenda and various ways since then is winding down. We've talked about that. We opened up the Kankakee Sands Preserve last fall. And the last preserve that's contained in that capital improvement program, Plum Valley Preserve, will open in 2018. We'll also start on construction of the Black Road Trail connection. This is connecting the DuPage River and the Rock Run Trail systems along Black Road. That's a pretty significant project, and actually I noticed this morning the utility relocations are already taking place now. So we expect to break ground for real, I guess, in early spring of 2018. A number of developments in planning and development have also been funded by transfer from our fund reserve, which you've approved as part of your annual budgets in 2017 and in 2018. We'll be doing work at the Hamel Woods Dog Park, Veterans Woods, the Isle of Lakash, Centennial Trail, Wallen Lake, and the Normantown Trail. All of those projects were contained in those fund reserve transfers, and many of those are supplemented by other dollars, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. In restoration, we'll continue with work at Thorn Creek Headwaters, at Kankakee Sands, at Hadley Valley, at Messenger Woods, and at Lockport Prairie Nature Preserve and Prairie Bluff Preserve. I spoke to you a couple of months ago regarding the Lockport Prairie project, and you know that that's our Section 206 project, which we were working with the Corps of Engineers. The Corps of Engineers, we've been working with them since about 2002, and we finally got to the point of construction. In December of this year, the Corps awarded a $2.3 million habitat restoration project to a company. And they will start habitat restoration at both Prairie Bluff and at Lockport Prairie here this winter. What's important about that project too, and the uniqueness of working with the Corps, is that subject to future appropriations, the Corps can add to that project. So the total value of the project that they bid is about $4.5 million and would fully restore all of Prairie Bluff Preserve. It's our hope, and we're continuing to work with the Corps over the course of the next couple of years, that additional appropriations will be made by the Corps, and they will be able to complete that work. Another important project that we're working on at Hadley Valley Preserve involves IDNR, and it involves restoration of about 2,000 linear feet of Spring Creek. This is funded as a mitigation for work that the IDNR is doing in Spring and Hickory Creeks in the city of Joliet. But because we were positioned and we had a site and we had the property and we continue to work with them, we'll be the beneficiaries of upwards of about $1 million worth of restoration of that stream corridor. In real estate management, we'll also be rebidding our farm bids in our, this year in 2018 for the 2019 through 2021 cycle. We've been working closely with our ad hoc farm group, which is made up of folks from, Commissioner Ogala is on there, as well as Patty Nugent, who sits on our CAC, and then also Mark Schneiderwin and John Kiefer from the Farm Bureau, along with our staff, to re-envision how the Forest Preserve District deals with its agricultural properties and its agricultural licenses. Over the course of the past 15 years, we've opened or expanded or renovated 48 sites. That's through that capital improvement program. We've increased opportunities for fishing, camping, running, bicycling, hiking, picnicking, and a whole host of other activities. You'll see there the number of sites that we've actually opened and renovated and are under development are larger than the number of sites that we have not done any work on. From a land stewardship standpoint, I talked briefly about agricultural properties that we own. We have about 3,500 acres in ag. That is about a little bit under 1/4 of all the acreage that we control. We have about 6,300 acres in our managed natural areas. Those are the highest quality natural areas that we have. And then we have about 55% of our land is unmanaged. It's left in its natural state. And that doesn't mean it won't move into one of those other categories, but as of right now, it's left in very much a natural state. And only 400 acres of all of the 22,000 acres that the Forest Preserve District controls is actually developed with access areas, parking lots, trails, and the like. Our Visitor Services Department is really one of our outward faces. In 2017, we continued with the merger of our Environmental Learning Center, or ELC, and our Four Rivers Environmental Education Center. And we shifted all of our educational programming from the ELC to Four Rivers. So Four Rivers now sees all of our school groups and does all of our public programming that the two facilities used to do. We shifted our winter recreational programming from Mooney Reservoir to Plum Creek as well. These are all in a way to increase our efficiencies and be better prepared to deal with the public and the changing nature of recreation and recreational offerings. In June, we opened online registration, and with this new opportunity and increased marketing efforts, in visitor services, we've seen a clear increase in the number of program registrants, the number of programs booked to capacity, and the rate at which those registrations are taking place in advance of the program. That online was really key for us. And another interesting number is that we recently allowed online permitting for our dog parks, and in the first 11 days of the year have sold as many as 50% of the total number of permits we sold last year online. So it's an important piece, and I think that it's made it much easier for folks to get permits from us. In 2018, we'll host 5 facility events, including the new Snow Day Festival, which will be next Saturday, not this coming one, but the 20th, out at the Plum Creek Nature Center. We'll also host 4 special exhibitions at our visitor facilities, including a collection from a local photographer, Don Sala. That exhibition is ongoing right now at the Plum Creek Nature Center. We'll have 2 traveling exhibitions from Purdue University, and then we'll have the National Park Service Quilt Exhibition. And I've talked about this as well before. This exhibition is so large that we did not have one facility that could contain it, so it will actually be at all 4 of our facilities simultaneously, and we'll use that as a marketing tool, again, to move people around the county to visit all of those different sites. We'll also expand and experiment with preserve-based outreach activities. Last year we started Food Truck Fridays. It was a huge success. We'll continue with that. We'll also initiate a new program called Rock the Woods, in which we'll team both food trucks and concert events that we annually host together. And then we'll also bring back our Woods Walk program as an outreach event. Oops. We have 5 visitor centers. They're up there. Last year, my numbers are from 2016. We're still tallying up 2017, but in 2016, those visitor centers saw a number of 62,000 visitors. We hosted the Smithsonian exhibition at 4 Rivers, which alone had 4,000 visitors over a 6-week period. Each facility hosts at least one major annual event, and they're the sites of most all of our public programs and all of our local school field trips.
Right.
Yes.
You still figuring 2017 figures for visitors. Do you think it's higher than 62,000 or lower?
We do, yeah.
More?
Based on the outreach events alone, our Food Truck Fridays were averaging between 400 and 700 individuals per Friday that we hosted them. And then a number of our other programs, we had quite a bit of increase, yeah.
Okay.
And even just our regular programs, the regular adult education and youth education programs, we saw an
Well,
increase.
how long would it take to have the figures for 2017?
We'll have a report for you in March.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So we have a number of different types of programs that we do. 15,000 visitors came to our outreach and facility-based events in 2016. That number will increase. And another 55,000 enjoyed a permanent-based activity such as picnicking, camping, taking their dog to the dog park, or attending a non-district event like a charitable 5K or fun run. Now, we don't track the number of general users, but a conservative estimate that was developed a few years ago when we were doing some marketing analysis for the organization pegs that number at about 1 million visits per year. That's based on the number of people that we know are using, that are permitting events, as well as just some quick counts to get a baseline at some of our more popular preserves. Oops. Marketing and communications includes all of our social media, our traditional media, our weekly digital newsletter, and our website management. We launched a new website in May of 2017 and expect to end the year, well, we did end the year, with over 1 million page views, which was about 240,000 more than we had last year. And we had over 250,000 unique visitors, which was a 50% increase over 2017. On average, we have over 130 articles published monthly by local and regional news outlets, garnering an estimated 700 million impressions across the area. In 2018, we'll continue to expand our public engagement through ongoing creation of original content, including video, aerial imagery, full-length feature articles, contests, and other promotions. One of those coming up in 2018 is called Forest Frames, in which a number of, I think it's 7 large frames will be placed out in various forest preserves, and individuals will then take a selfie of themselves with that frame with the goal of putting that up on social media and increasing awareness of the forest preserve and having a little bit of fun doing it. We'll also be rolling out our digital kiosks. These are kiosks about the size of this podium at each of our visitor facilities that allow folks to interact with our website and learn a little bit more about the district when they come to visit our sites. Social media is one that we've talked about in the past and one I wanted to highlight here. Social media is very important to us. It's important to build a community out there in the social media platforms or across the social media platforms. It allows us to communicate, but it's a two-way communication. It also allows us to listen and to hear and to react to what's going on. And it's very important that we are responsive to the folks who are using our sites. Right now, we have nearly 37,000 people following us on the Forest Preserve's main Facebook page, and more than 75,000 people that follow us across all of our Facebook pages, Twitter, and Instagram. Our Forest Preserve Police last year initiated our trail safety program, which involved distributing wristbands with a non-emergency number. That was a very successful program, and the Joliet Bicycle Club came alongside us to help support that program. We'll continue with that program in the future. We've also continued to expand our part-time police force. It's important for us to cover all of our shifts, and we do so with part-time police officers. Our Forest Preserve Police also coordinate with our visitor services outreach folks to attend events and increase awareness of safety and safety-related topics in the Forest Preserve. Partnerships are a huge part of what we do. We believe that the Forest Preserve exists as part of an integrated open space network. We are one part of a much larger puzzle that involves national and local partners, park districts, municipalities, National Park Service, IDNR, and the likes. We routinely partner with our local counterparts to improve not only Forest Preserve sites, but access to and from Forest Preserve and into other public open space areas. Last year, we partnered with the city of Naperville on a connection of the DuPage River, and also with the city of Joliet and the village of Shorewood to make that Black Road project a reality. This coming year, we'll be working with the village of Romeoville on the Centennial Trail and Isle of Akash improvements, and the village has provided funding for both of those. And we'll also be working with the village of Plainfield on the development of the Normantown Trail connecting Naperville and Plainfield along the former Normantown Road. Volunteers and friends, I've already talked about volunteers, how important they are to us, as well as is the Nature Foundation of Will County, aka the Friends of the Forest Preserve District. We have just over 100 full-time employees, and we did go through a reduction of staff a couple of years ago. We reduced our numbers by 10%, making volunteers and partnerships and our friends all the more important to the success of our organization. There's a lot of work to do and to manage. As I said, with our volunteers, we had over 1,100 of them come to assist us last year. The Nature Foundation is a nonprofit corporation dedicated solely to support the Forest Preserve District and our education, recreation, and conservation programs. Their recent campaign to keep nature education programs free for school children and to support land management activities carried out by our volunteer stewards are two important examples of that. They are also co-sponsoring 4 of those exhibits that I talked about, those special exhibits that we're bringing in to the organization. Next month, Cindy Karn will be here to give you a more in-depth report on the Friends. So I had given that report as part of my annual address, which we do to all of our staff, our assembled staff. And that presentation is usually a little bit longer, but it also includes an important part of staff appreciation. And it goes into an awards. We recognize our staff for their longevity. We recognize those who have done special acts. We recognize those who have exhibited special characteristics or values, which we put great value in. And last year, or, well, it was last year, in December, I was able to give a lifetime achievement award. So some of you know that today is Lori Green's last day. Not her last day with the organization, but her last board meeting. And Lori has served with the district going on 37 years now. She's in her 37th year. And she's been an important part to our organization, to the executive directors who served before us, to you, the board members, to the board secretary, to the board leadership. And her role in our organization is one that I can't, there's no words to say to actually tell you how valuable she has been through all of those transitions that we do, whether it's the board or whether it's organizationally with our staff. Lori's been there, and she's been able to help us negotiate those changes. And I just wanted to recognize Lori in front of you.
Official. I came in diapers and I'm leaving in depends. It's been great working with all of you. I'm proud to be part of this Forest Preserve District. I wish you all the best. I'm leaving for spring training in March to see the Cubs for a whole month. My second grandbaby's coming in April, and I'll still be around. I'm still working with the Joliet Park District, and I'm volunteering for the Forest Preserve District. But it's just been great. Thank you for all your support, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
That's all I had. So if you don't have any questions, or if you do, feel free to just reach out to either John or myself, and we can address some of those. But watch for some of those projects. They will be coming up as we move through the calendar year, and we'll hear about them again. Thank you.
Suzanne, can I make one comment real quick?
Sure.
Thank you. One of the slides on there showed the administrative budget, and I know it looked rather large at first glance. And to the average individual who may look at that and they say, well, you know, you're top heavy, things like that. But I do want to remind the board that not only do all the expenses and the benefits come out for the entire Forest Preserve out of that administrative budget, the capital projects where we're moving money, all the capital transfers, all the OPEB transfers for the retirees, all come out of that as well. So while it may look skewed, where it looks top heavy, the reality is a lot of those monies go for other things other than, you know, administrative. We just put it in the administrative budget. So I just thought it was important to let everybody know that.
Thank you. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you had that comment because I was able to clean up my little faculties there, silently crying. Lori, she's so sad. Okay. Any other comments? With that, I just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
And then a second. All in favor?
Aye.